everybody. Welcome to the new normal. I'm your host, Lisa Davis, aka Litecoin Lisa. Today is a V-Steg day. I'm super excited. My friend Skullcap SaVant is joining us, and he is in a brand new location. And he needed a little time to get settled, so it all worked out with me being ill for a few days. I apologize for taking a week off, but it's all kind of working out. What is a Halloween pack? 6 overlays. New. What in the world? Let's see what's going on here. Why are they having Halloween? What's happening? Let's do spooky candy. I don't even like any of this stuff. Oh, now can I get this stuff off? Oh, crap. What did I do? Oh, no. Oh, no. All right, we'll be right back with Skullcap right after this. Okay. Did I change the right one?
I got a pumpkin in front of my face. Look at this.
Subscribe, like, and subscribe. How about that one? We'll do that one. Oh, mercy. Learning and growing. Welcome back, Skullcap. Good to see you.
Hello, thanks.
Yeah. So I love these. This is so much fun for me. I have been watching Donaldo do his cues and all this, and the other day he did a Z. And I love the Z-Steg because of our beautiful boy.
Well, Z has some crossover with JFK Jr. and his tattoo, as I know you key into. I've admitted there's a lot of work to do with the other glyphs. If you go look at the Ogham language was all made with straight lines. And so if you actually looked at the alphabet, a glyph would qualify as any of the letters that were interchangeable with, something that looked Ogham, essentially. If you look at the letter, what's that?
And what's funny, with you saying that today on World Blockchain Roundtable, Joe Dragon posts memes. The second half of the show. So the first half of the show is run by a DAO on den.social, the WBRT World Blockchain Roundtable. And anybody can submit questions, and then we all at the panel, we all answer the questions, whatever. And then the second hour of the show, Joe posts these memes, and then we all kind of talk about current events, whatever. And he posted this one, and I, Miss Conspiracy Theory Girl, I always listen to what Joe says and what he doesn't say. And the meme comes up, and he goes, "Oh," and everybody's kind of ignoring it and talking. And Joe goes, "Oh, Jupiter," or something about Jupiter. But it was written in straight lines. There was no J. It was V, long with a V, and the U was a V. I. Even the
were they talking about the astrological symbol for Jupiter? Because it kind of looks like a number 4. If you go back to 2024 Paris Olympics, it's all about Jupiter. You go look. So look up Paris. This like right now, for instance. I covered this extensively. You jive with the decode I did on Jupiter last year. It relates to Oz in a lot of key ways. We won't go there totally today. We have other stuff to talk about, but it all connects back to Oz at the end of it. Like it as people who have tuned into these broadcasts have learned, it's Oz is kind of a layer of subtext, I think, that is a meme that is used to cast mind control spells into the public sphere. And so I have got this kind of operating theory, by the way, lately, because why is it so prevalent? Well, because they're trying really fucking hard with all sorts of mind control tactics. And so Oz is just seeping out of the seams of all of the culture and all of the fiction and everything that it's
And they're
tied into.
using the magic of it. Like recently, there was a powerful women in banking conference, and one of my dear friends, Jill, who created the Roger app, and she banks the military with this digital app. She was speaking at this. She's one of the most powerful women in banking, and she part of the Kansas Fed and all this. And she showed a picture, and Kristen Chenoweth happened to just be speaking at this event.
Yeah.
Well, she's in Wicked and all this. And right now, Wicked is being rolled out at all the theaters.
We're going to get to that, by the way. This is going to connect.
I don't want to jump ahead. Okay. But the timing of it and the colors that they're using in Wicked right now are, I think, significant. I would love to have your feedback on that when we get to that point. So
sure.
Let me know where you are on all that as well.
Sure. Well, let's complete two other thoughts before we go. One was the glyph conversation. For instance, if you identify a letter like the letter K, which is a glyph, its uppercase and lowercase are both consistent with straight lines only, right? It's the same with the letter T. It's the same with the letter W. It's the same with the letter X and V. Like X and V are the ones that people have caught on to the most. But you see what I'm talking about? Like, and there's worthy investigation to be done on those, because those glyphs were inserted into the invented English language as we know it and as we speak it. It was an invented language back 1,000 years ago or so, where they evolved it from Latin, you know. It was programmed into us. It became, somehow everyone takes for granted that this language became the way that it did, but it's so key to me that I think that our language is inserted with these memes that we speak, and we're entrained to do it with certain sounds. That's what the Ogham language, the language of the Vikings, the Nords, the written language of the Nords and the Vikings. It's more like, as I understand it, operates kind of like Hebrew, where there's a harmonic, like true Hebrew, not Yiddish, not what Jews use today, but the original Hebrew language, which that's a whole nother side of the steganography pool that we haven't even dug into yet. But relative to other ways that symbols are used, again, pull up the second point. We were talking about Jupiter for a sec in the Paris Olympics. Like, pull up the logo
for Paris.
Yeah. See if you can pull up just like on an image search.
I changed to pre-search. What year?
2024. Last summer.
Okay. Olympics. Okay. Was it just last summer? That's crazy. Okay.
Yeah.
Green.
So, do you have it pulled up?
Yeah. Sorry. Oh gosh, it looks like spirits leaving.
So, I might have to send you the images just a sec.
Okay.
But the point is like they were using, there's one right there that's kind of like the lambda. You see the one with the lambda on it, where it's the far left, bottom left corner.
Oh, this one?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that was what they were doing.
The Eiffel Tower itself, right?
Yeah.
Kind of a lambda.
Exactly. They had one. It was this was at the time when, I don't know if you remember,
4, the way they did number 4 here, right?
There you go. That was how they were emphasizing the Jupiter. Because if you go look up, for instance, astrological symbol. Here it is. Here's the one I can pour into the. I'm going to add it into image file. And where is it? There. And
look at that one right in the middle where it says Paris and just the big number 4. It looks like a big lambda.
Yes. That is the Jupiter symbol right there.
Yep.
So those were the two predominant symbols. Okay, so you see how it like literally looks like a number 4, but look up the astrological symbol for Jupiter. Just look it up equally so on an image search. That's more ubiquitous, so you're going to find it pretty quick.
Oh my gosh. Holy cow. Oh, wait, remove this, add this. Wow.
There you go. See?
Literally.
See, I was just stylized Jupiter. So this is what they do. Like, and they sneak it right into stylized. It just gets right past your filters.
Yep.
But at the time, I was doing a lot of decoding about there were 44 everywhere. The 44 rituals extended into, there was a show on Apple TV called Dark Matter, which is all about changing timelines. He's trying to find his wife in all of the multiverse timelines. You know, this is actually part of what we're going to get into here with the Multiversity comic with DC. Is that there's this casting on top of our minds. Jupiter Street was the guy's address. He lived on like 44 Jupiter Street, literally in the show. The main character did, and Oz has become this kind of multiverse facsimile, where I think part of the mind control spell is they're trying to arrest what the natural tendency of the Jupiter energy is, for us to resonate with that Christ energy, which is kind of what Jupiter represents, and they're trying to still hijack it. There was a point where, do you remember when this JP Morgan Chase bank blew up?
Yes.
Do you remember that?
On the corner of, it was significant what the corners were on.
It was 44th Street, or is 40 the 44. The address was 44 something Street. Where was it? I had it saved in one of these things here. Where was it? There was a camera angle of it, in fact.
Youngstown, Ohio, was it?
Youngstown, Ohio. And there was a camera clip. There was a CCV camera clip of the thing blowing up.
13-story building, of course.
See if you can just find the video feed of it.
Okay.
And replay it.
Find videos.
Because on the video feed, you'll see right there, as part of the ritual, it captured a street sign that prominently displays the number 44.
Huge blast. Yeah, here's a couple videos. I'm share this tab instead. Can you guys see that?
There it is.
Here's one with
the opposite of any word.
Of course, I'm add. Powerful.
There it is. You see the sign right there on the bottom right-hand corner?
44.
Yeah.
Right there.
So this was an interesting happening, because here's what I was identifying. This was during all the V-Steg that I was finding in the presidential assassination, which is all tied to the Buffalo mystery that I'm still kind of uncovering. I'm still doing the research on the McKinley era, what it has to do with the Silver Sherman Act, the Gold Standard Act, all of those, all the money trusts that they broke up when the Fed got instituted, all this shit. The inception point was McKinley. And Buffalo, New York, McKinley, Trump, the Tesla file, all this stuff is connected. But
see, and Trump keeps talking about McKinley. Just last night,
brings him up specifically.
Talking about McKinley.
So just to give you some of the cliff notes of why 44 was weird during this period of time, like interesting things in pop culture were happening. This happened the same week that Pat Sajak, who was the Wheel of Fortune guy, right? Mm-hmm. Wheel of Fortune is the tarot card at 10, by the way, the X-steganography. X-steganography is the UFO file. You know, there's a lot of different things, and time itself, like the control of time, the wheel of time. So X and V is more like the mind control aspects. X is kind of like some of the mechanisms behind it. And it's like why you have the X files. You hide the UFO file, you know, it's right out in everyone's face. X is like classified, right? Well, Pat Sajak it was his 44th year of hosting the Wheel of Fortune show. He retired that week. You had Mount St. Helens 44-year anniversary of blowing up that happened that week. You know, the coincidences went all the way down up to and including that show that was a facsimile of Oz, Dark Matter. But this is the way that I think the Jupiter energy is being redirected. Have you ever heard of the 440 hertz conspiracy?
Mm-mm.
Look it up. Look up that too, because this is important to you just read what it's about. I'll get something else off the shelf.
Let's see, where am I? 44. What did you call it? Megahertz?
440 hertz conspiracy.
444 hertz.
I think I even have a video here. I found one. Here you go. Just click that link. That's the best thing to do.
Okay.
Yeah. There you go.
Hold on. Let me share this tab instead. Share screen. More wonderful ads. Hertz.
Yeah, here we are. Just watch this little video here.
What Confucius meant about the quality of music when he says it's based upon the quality of its music, he wasn't talking about what kind of genre the music was in. He wasn't talking about whether it was rap or country, rock and roll, gospel, or jazz. What he was referring to when he meant the quality of its music was what frequency was that music being played in, and what mathematical intervals was the difference between the frequencies. You see, that was absolutely crucial. For thousands of years during the Chinese dynasties, the emperors would send out teams of people all over the kingdom to make sure that the people were playing music in the right frequencies, the proper frequencies with the proper intervals. They had.
This is the book I actually got off the shelf for this reason. This is Hans Jenny Cymatics. It's what they're practicing there on the table. Put sand on there, and you attenuate the vibration of the surface to a specific frequency band, and you can get a shape. And that shape is a mathematical equivalent to how you might represent it in a Hertzian, measurement system. That's your analog thumbprint, as you will, of nature, of that frequency. You can visualize it that way. We could talk about how that's important after it, but I just wanted to draw everybody's attention to that. There's a reason why I think they chose that little stock footage there.
Had strict guidelines about the music that was being played, because the emperor knew that if you had different factions of different kingdoms playing different types of music, different frequencies of music, that all those different realms would soon be at strife and against one another. So it was imperative that the entire kingdom played music in tune with one another, and they set specific and strict guidelines of what frequency was this music to be played at. So 2,500 years, or actually 4,500 years ago, the Chinese were using the vibration of music to control the people. Now, let's fast forward to today. Now, what do we know about today's music? What do we know about what tuning our music is in, and where did this tuning come from?
Pause right there. All right. That's really important. our music industry has created a recording band of 440 hertz that is both recorded in and broadcast in that frequency range.
Mm-hmm.
It's very subtle. It's almost the same as 432. But this video is pretty good. I think this is the one that also shows and explains what the difference is from a sound quality perspective, the best it can approximate, because it's only 8 minutes long. But this is important, actually, to how I argue that the V-steganography is actually working, because it's actual frequency manipulation mixed with symbolic casting agents like a spell. You actually get a sizable effect. You actually get, there's a meaningful effect. So do you see how 44, the numerology is right there? Yeah. Also, the numerology of this whole Jupiter spell.
Well, and even that
keep you outside of that bandwidth. It's right there,
Right. Even that Jupiter symbol looked like a 24.
Yes. Yeah. And here's what's crazy. 432 is an interesting number. First of all, it's sequential.
Yeah. 324.
432. Second of all, if you take its palindrome or its reverse, it's not a palindrome because it's not the same forward and backward. Excuse me. But if you just take its inverse, 234, which is also sequential, and add them together, you actually get 666.
Oh Lord.
This is one of the, ancient Hermetic secrets with the frequency. So there's a way of splitting the octaves, and there's 666 is a beautiful number in terms of the divine frequencies of it all, right? If you go back to the ancient world, it's representative of it's like, if you do the Pythagorean math and split the octaves, that's what you get with like the 234 versus the 432. And then it's funny that just the simple math, adding them back together, you actually get 666. So that's not the only thing there is with 666, but it's an interesting one, right? Like it's meaningful why the Masons measure things in those increments in the megalithic yards and things like this, why the Washington Monument's 666 feet tall if you account for the pedestal beneath it. Funny enough, it's 555 feet tall above the part that's in the ground. And on it goes. So there's a meaningful mirroring that they're doing too with the Earth grid, where they put these key things like the Washington Monument meant to resonate and capture the true energy qualities, maybe, right? But they're still, whatever the fuck Saturn's doing up there, my argument is beaming energy at us. What cymatic frequency soup are we swimming in, and what apparatuses like keep us in 440 hertz, just outside of where we naturally want to attenuate, right? So that's my little spiel. Hit play on the button again. That's just kind of how I would tie it back into like our investigation, our steganography.
Yeah.
So 432 Hz was the frequency in which instruments pre-1939, again for the most part, was used in Europe and around the world. But that all changed in 1939 when an international conference held in London recommended strongly that the world frequency, at least in regards to tuning instruments, be changed to 440 Hz. After this date, the BBC, among many others around the world, required their orchestras to tune to 440 Hz. This slowly changed the tuning mechanics now being used as an industrial standard to 440 Hz. A major change from the organic 432 Hz to the 440 Hz. Only 14 years later, in 1955, 440 Hz became the standard that was adopted by industrial standards worldwide. The question people are now asking
1955.
is, was there a more sinister reason for the change? Since a number of researchers have stated that people feel differently under the long-term influence of music and broadcasts at 440 Hz than they actually do at the natural organic broadcast of 432 Hz.
Today, extensive research has shown that music can speed or slow your heart rate, relax or jar your nerves, affect your blood pressure, digestion, even your rate of respiration. And I'm sure I don't have to tell you that music can also affect your emotions and desires. It can
See how the
have a
shape
very
changes too?
significant influence on your
Mhm.
mental processes,
Well, it
and in
also
turn
looks like
can
stained
influence
glass.
an entire
If you think about
society, as the
churches,
Chinese
and
knew
they
over
had this
4,000
stained
years ago.
glass on there
So,
to
where did
like
the
you
frequency of
see and
today's
like
music
bring
come
in.
from? Just about the entire modern world uses the standard concert pitch of A
Find this one.
equals 440 hertz. Now, what this means is, on a piano, for example, the A above middle C is tuned to 440 hertz. Then all the rest of the notes are tuned around this frequency. But the problem with this is there's absolutely nothing harmonious, either biologically or cosmically, with the 440 hertz frequency. So why are we using it?
There you go.
I have to show you this other thing.
Your throat chakra, your speech.
Yes, interesting.
Oh no. I hate these commercials.
I know.
That point's important. You feel it like right here too. Yeah. Probably here too. It activates third eye and it's good. Good shit. It's kind of like Pink Floyd or something. I really like this
It does sound very Pink Floyd.
Yeah.
Inverse. This is so wild to post today.
Yeah. So huge endorsement for that guy because he explained it very well. And
yes, follow Conspiracy Music Guru on YouTube. I definitely subscribed to him and liked his video. So
yeah, he's pointing out some key things. Not connect. He's a good point of emphasis as part of the research of the V-Steg, though. It's all frequency-based manipulation on the mind, and there are mechanisms somehow that they're doing this, right? So a lot of my speculatory, okay, numerology and casting of spells lines up with action somewhere. Otherwise, it's not a very good spell if it doesn't line up with something that takes actionable kind of impact on the mind. Well, here you go. You have an effect, you have an industry of music that, for whatever reason, 1939, what around 1939 also happened, everyone, the precursors to the World War II.
Well, so
maybe.
Just to bring home the point of how powerful it is, and I will not play much of this because it's really horrible. This is the Chilean Miss Chile. This is so horrible.
I can't hear anything. Is she just doing death metal?
Can you not hear it?
No. Maybe it's good for everybody that they're not hearing.
Yeah, it's probably good for everyone. You can go follow my Twitter and listen to it or whatever, but
I'm guessing it's like the death metal, like at the bottom of the throat, kind of.
She sounds like a demon. Literally sounds like a demon.
Yeah.
This beautiful girl literally sounds like a demon.
Well, that's a shame.
Yeah. But if you don't think frequency is some kind of spell casting.
Well, what's interesting is I'll point people's attention to some things that were going on. It's funny that in 1955, it was official. Like it was an industry standard. 1955. Guys, the V-Steg, these are the markers of the V-Steg, obviously, because V is a representation of the number 5 in Roman numerals. And so that's actually kind of goes back to its Latin roots and its Roman roots, and where it was actually carried across had multiple meanings. That's part of the spell casting of things, is that the same glyph, let's say, can be something and be the exact same symbol in Ogham, but it can be the exact same symbol in Roman, but mean something slightly different. So you can cast a couple of different spells. Then you've got a repertoire of 2 different meanings that you can use it in context with, that you can, draw the attention of whoever you're casting it into view of into that little channel that you're trying to encourage as the sorcerer. So there's some things going on though. Like this is a really interesting book. I pulled back off my shelf. This is it's a fun read. This is called The Brothers Vonnegut, Science and Fiction in the House of Magic. And this is a fun book to read because it, in plain English, it outlines the inception of the cloud seeding program, for one, at GE. Kurt Vonnegut was a famous American novelist of the 60s, and he famously survived the bombing of Dresden in World War II. Wow. Yeah, he was inside of a slaughterhouse. He was a prisoner of war. And it's funny because his accountings of the German soldiers, he said they were kind of like verbally terse to them, but they weren't really mistreated, as it goes with, a lot of accountings with the German soldiers. But it was, near the end of the war. Dresden was about to get bombed. They pulled him in there, and he survived the Dresden bombing, and it was like the most horrific thing that had ever happened to him. Impacted his life, obviously, and survived in this slaughterhouse, like ice, kind of like an ice chest, where they would hang pigs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So he actually ended up I think first or second book that he wrote was actually called Slaughterhouse 5. Mm. Now there are some authors out there that write about the meanings of the V-Steg directly into their work. Kurt Vonnegut's one of them. Thomas Pynchon is another one. He's another American novelist of kind of the same era. He's still contemporary. He still writes, and he literally has a book called V, for one. He's got one called Mason and Dixon, which in another tangent, we can go into how the Mason-Dixon line in Pennsylvania and the Keystone State all factor into the ritual attempts for the V-Steg. But you also have one called Gravity's Rainbow, Somewhere Over the Rainbow with Oz, the Rainbow and Color Flowers with the Road to Ruta theory. This is all baked into Gravity's Rainbow, which is also a fine point, because again, we got to come back to Wicked, November 21st, the stuff going on in space, 3i Atlas for whatever reason right now, you know. But this book here is a post-World War II accounting, very well researched and written by Ginger Strand is the woman's name. And like a historical accounting goes, she's better at kind of like the dry, pithy nature of a dude writing about a historical accounting. It's going to be footnoted and all that stuff. She biographizes or bibliographizes. She has works cited for all of her resources, and she cites them all throughout the book. But it's done differently than, you know, a guy that would write the book. It's actually an enjoyable read because it reads like you're living the lives of the Vonnegut family. But Bernard Vonnegut was one of the guys that started the cloud seeding program with GE to great success, and it was all public. This is the thing. They've brainwashed us out from all of these experiments. Oh, no, there's no chemtrails up there. They literally engineered this in the post-World War II era, and GE publicized it in all the magazines it could. It actually made quite the splash with the public when they started doing this stuff because they were starting to be able to create rain. And so that's what this book is about. It's about the two brothers, but there's an excerpt in this too. There's all these scientists of the time that are working through GE, including like C.P. Steinmetz, Charles Proteus Steinmetz, who's the mathematician that did all of the calculations on behalf of Tesla. Tesla was the ideas guy. Steinmetz was the mathematician that brought the exactitude type of approach to the engineering side of, you're right, this idea has legs. You're only approximating what it'll do. We need to, make the formula for it so that you can engineer around that, So that's who Charles Proteus Steinmetz is. He's in this book. Okay. It goes on and on. But anyway, Project Cirrus is the name of GE's program, if anyone wants to go look this up. There's a point here in 1947, a few years after the war ended, in 44, by the way. Funny enough, right? Kurt was thinking about what might have. So this is Kurt Vonnegut, and we're starting in the process of he's trying to like find his way in the world at GE, because he was like, before he was a writer, he was like the internal current events color commentator guy that sent the newsletter out inside of GE. His brother got him the job. So they're going to be talking about a professor at MIT here really quickly. His name is Norbert Wiener. Norbert Wiener is the inventor of cymatics. Cymatics is frequency control of the noggin. So we're going to get there, right? But this is 1947. So Kurt was thinking about what might happen if a scientist refused to tell the military men what they wanted to know. Scientists had recently just done that, Norbert Wiener, okay? So this is where it gets crazy. Before World War II, military knowledge was indisputed. Like the military got to have total arbitership over this knowledge, apparently, right? And then there was a cleaving after World War II ended. And Norbert Wiener, who's a prominent scientist, an up-and-comer, a Jewish prominent scientist, funny enough, right? And he's professor of, he was a professor at MIT at the time and one of the world's leading mathematicians, very well respected. He went on in the 60s to create cymatics. We'll get there in a second. But he said he was good friends with John von Neumann, and the two men could hardly have been more different. And in January 1947, Wiener had made national news by canceling a talk at an MIT symposium on the high-speed calculating machines because the conference was funded by the military. Just before the conference, The Atlantic had published Wiener's open letter to an aircraft company researcher who requested a copy of the paper on controlled missiles, where Wiener had written during the war. So what that said basically is Wiener wrote an essay on controlled missile launches during the war, and they published it. But Wiener refused to give him this report. It was simple. Wiener wrote he had done that work under government contract because he thought he should assist the war effort. But then he had seen the results. And quote, the policy, he says, quote, the policy of the government itself during and after the war, say in the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, has made it clear that to provide scientific information is not a necessarily innocent act and may entail the gravest consequences. One, therefore, cannot escape reconsidering the established custom of the scientist. Here it is. Here's the key point. We have to reconsider the custom, he calls it, of the scientist to give information to every person who may inquire it of him. Scientist had now become arbiters of life and death, he declared, and he was censoring himself because to disseminate information about a weapon in the present state of our civilization is to make it practically certain that the weapon will be used. So this is the propaganda type prose that Wiener casts on the public. Now, this is an important point. This is a side note in this book. It means nothing to the narrative. But when I read that, it was part of like the grander scheme. You just find little fucking nuggets like that sometimes when you're just doing like random research. Wiener, like I said, invented cymatics. Okay, so this is a 20-year younger Wiener than we have in the 60s, who alongside Jose Delgado, who was a professor at TCU, the Texas Horned Frogs. You know the school, Texas Christian University.
Yes, very well.
All right. Well, there's a reason why they're called the Horned Frogs. The Horned Frog is like a chimera of a bull and a frog. Horns from the bull and the frog itself. You connect the two dots of Wiener requesting that information be kept secret, right? We'll get there in a second. We'll talk about the cymatics part of it in a second too. But you'll find that Jose Delgado and Norbert Wiener collaborated on what the science is that I've mentioned already that we now know in today's world called cymatics. Bring up a definition of cymatics. It's probably going to help people visualize.
My mind is just going straight to HARP and the Nimitz. But
the Nimitz,
the boat that has
HARP ends up being part of all this in the grand scheme. They
keep sending this boat off these countries, and then it does its frequency and its frequency warfare on people. They used to call it voice of God.
Yes.
Anyway, so I mean, I know I'm jumping ahead again. I apologize. Okay, how do you spell it? What was it? Scheming. What was it called? What's the word
for cymatics? CYMATICS. Cymatics.
Okay, I cannot spell. Please share this tab instead. More pre-search. So are we wanting?
Just bring up the Wikipedia of it. The Wikipedia is not going to, it's going to show the basics of like, all right. So see why they, or excuse me, not cymatics, cybernetics.
Cybernetics. Okay.
Yeah. Leave cymatics up because cymatics was on the brain too. I'm sorry, everybody. Okay, I've got two words. Cymatics is something we're talking about with the frequency varietals within the shape constructs that frequency bands create. We talked about that before, so she can keep this one up too, Lisa. But it's cybernetics. I just had a brain fart kind of thing with Norbert Wiener.
Share that instead. Cybernetics.
Okay. So the whole idea is that he treats the person as a golem kind of a thing. The ancient context of Jewish sorcerers, they have this whole idea that you can animate something out of nothing. You can give it consciousness. And that creature that they would summon in theory was called the golem. And there was a ritual process by which to infuse some sort of essence of the spiritual realm into the life construct of a golem. Therefore, you could control it. If you can control the soul, you can control the being. And so that's kind of, if you read this, you see the system's actions, its outputs, and its inputs to the system influencing subsequent action. What it's talking about is cybernetics is a system of inputs and outputs by which you control the inputs and therefore control the outputs. The inputs can be anything. They can be symbols. They can be frequencies. They can be memes that are kind of halfway cooked or fully cooked. They can be, anything that your senses can interact with. That's the input of a system.
Like it's saying here, changing the environment to respond.
Yes.
Okay.
Cybernetics influenced marketing and advertising greatly. Once these feedback loops were identified with human behaviors. Human behavior became a huge subset of cybernetics, the biggest one. It became the biggest system to game, was the human behavior itself. It continues to this day, like the echoes of what cybernetics breeds go all the way down. We take it for granted, but it goes all the way down to the algorithm in your social feed. That's what cybernetics is. It's the system controlling the inputs and the outputs for a desired outcome to elicit some sort of outcome from you, whether it's the dopamine that you're giving to the system, but you're giving value to the system in some sort of a way. And it's gaming you, just like why are ASMR videos a thing? Like, right. For instance, that it's the cybernetic system figuring out that there's an input that is creating some sort of effect that the dopamine drip is greater. And so people seek it out. And so they double down, it goes on and on and on. Now, Norbert Wiener and Jose Delgado created this research between 1946 and 1953, the basis for it, as you can see. In 1947, he's saying, I'm not going to share my research publicly because it could be used as a weapon. And he's the one that's fucking engineering it the entire time to be used as a weapon. This is part of the modus operandi of the mechanisms behind MK Ultra's programs that the CIA ends up taking by way of this. They actually, Norbert Wiener and Jose Delgado did successful experiments at TCU on frogs first. Oh. That's where you get the original animated, necromant, the reanimation of a dead frog with electrodes. They were tying things to the dead frog's brain, and they were making it move and hop and do all sorts of stuff. So there's your frog. And they evolved these electrodes into cows and bulls, to the point where there's actually a recorded video of Jose Delgado out in a matador ring turning the radio on. See if you can find that on YouTube. I'm sure you can. It's actually a pretty famous clip. It's a black and white clip of him having a radio transmitter device in his hand, and he's wearing red to piss off the bull. The bull's charging him at full speed, and he turns the dial, and it comes to a complete stop. He's rigged some sort of frequency with the push of a button to where the bull goes docile. So, look it up on YouTube. It has an effect when you get down to it here.
See if I can find it.
Jose Delgado, TCU bull experiment would probably be
his bull story. The man who fought a bull with mind control.
Sure. There you go. So there's one of the black and white clips of the experiment. There is a video about it. If you went to YouTube, you'd be able to probably find it. Oh, the video was removed.
Violating YouTube service because it was probably too violent or whatever.
It wasn't violent. It was too revealing.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
I explained what happens in the video well enough for everybody, though, I think.
Yeah.
So what am I getting at here, right? Like, what's the point? Well, you have Norbert Wiener in 1947 calling for secret research. I'm not going to tell the government about what I'm doing. They could use it as a weapon. Even though that's what he's planning to do with it, right? And before, that was an unprecedented move where he wrote about all this stuff in scientific journals, encouraged other scientists to do the same. We don't owe this knowledge to the government. And what you end up with is in 1946 to 1953, the span of time that he's developing cybernetics, he calls for that secrecy right at the front end of it. Oh, I've got something here, right? He's got some sort of mesmerism, it starts out as like hypnosis, right? Like a study of hypnosis. That's how it all starts. Study of mesmerism. There's a guy whose name is Franz Mesmer, French guy who created the art of hypnotism 200 years ago, 300 years ago almost. That's why I'm mesmerized. It's because of his discovery of certain frequencies by which you can manipulate and hypnotize. So that's where the research kind of expands from, right? And as soon as you've got there in 46 to 47 with Norbert Wiener after the war, probably looking at what the Germans had already done, there's a reason why it was only after the war that we got all this stuff that I think the Germans were onto, because they were in Egypt, in Alexandria, doing all sorts of archaeological research on frequency and manipulate and engineering using these frequencies and ancient schematics. And what the Germans knew was much more advanced in terms of this frequency world, right? It's part of my argument that they left the war. They did not lose the war. The Germans of consequence that you think that, were captured. I mean, this whole charade of the Nuremberg trials, this is a different story for a different day. But the point is that you have a whole influx of frequency type knowledge now being enlisted into research in a secret period. And then, like the video that we watched showed in 1955, probably very, very nicely and purposefully in 1955, so the V-Steg spell can cast and take root better in 55. You actually have the 440 hertz instituted standard take over. Did Norbert Wiener's research with cybernetics have anything to do with the 440 hertz standard by which, all his buddies with the Nobel Prize committees and, all the people that the record labels that are starting to come up in Hollywood? Oh, you start to get your Jewish empire of Hollywood around the same fucking time when movies are starting to just take off, right? It's all 440 hertz.
Well, and just like you said, not just cybernetics, but the cymatic.
They're using the cymatics shapes, frequencies right, by which to template onto your noggin, your receptor, your antenna, Mm-hmm. And there's a meaningful effect, that phase shift of just a couple of hundredths of points on the Hertzian scale. You have a really, really, I think, purposeful bandwidth dumbing down or threshold, that kind of like how, everybody knows the alpha, beta, delta, theta waves on the brain. And there's a different feeling associated with that. There's kind of a sleepiness with your delta waves, right? There's kind of like a clairvoyance with your theta waves, right, when you're totally in a creative state. There's that vibe that you get.
And right? Theta, like children are in theta, they say till like somewhere around 6 or 7 years old
or something. Yeah,
they're physically experiencing this realm. Like we are experiencing the same realm. We see that child that we believe we are in the same realm, but they are also experiencing another realm. Like when they are riding around on a little broom, they're experiencing that as truly a horse.
Right.
To them, it is just
I
as
remember
real.
doing that as a kid too, just like taking on the perspective of what you were imagining you were doing.
Right.
And
That imagination is just as real as that is their reality.
Yep.
Although to us, it's, oh, cute imagination. That is their reality. And so that frequency is a reality, just because we're in a different frequency. So if we're in a 440, if they're trying to push us from, if we're supposed to be in 432 and they're pushing us just this much to 440, so that we're not in our truth of 432, that
we're not in our optimized way of receiving signals from the consciousness
and not just
field.
receiving signals, but knowing
That might have something to do with it. I suspect it does. I suspect that your intuition probably has an operative sweet spot in 432 is, and coupled with the 7.83 hertz of the Earth's Schumann resonance, that's got to be thrown into balance.
Something to do with that black box and the 4D. You know how I keep saying they trapped us in the 4D, the 4-4.
Here's something to consider.
And that we really should be in the 5D.
Hold on, just talking numbers. Just saying. We've already talked about the rings of Saturn. It's a very mysterious thing. There are objects out there that are creating the rings. They have harmonics. I think they probably interoperate with the moon as an attenuator. We've talked about all this.
How many rings are in Saturn?
Itself is the biggest mind control device, not thought of as a mind control. It's the one thing that is manipulated because it's so big and because of its placements and because of its movements, because of the clockwork of its movements. Look at the menstrual cycle. Wouldn't be, how would, I have always had the thought, the moonstral cycle. That's why I call them the moonstral. Right. What would a woman's tendencies be for reproductive receiving? Would they even have timing mechanisms if not for the moon? Would you even shed eggs if it weren't for the moon? Right? I've had this kind of thought, like, it's an interesting thought to have.
No, it's like a chicken and an egg thing. 28 days.
Well, yeah. I don't know. There's a magnetic influence there. It's obvious. It's timed. I mean, it's in the language, in the vernacular, the moonstral cycle. So what then is all of this possibility of the template casting upon us, right? And I'm gonna share something else with you right there.
Okay.
Pull up. And this is another wrinkle with all this stuff, with the frequency and manipulate and what is actually happening to us at all these different levels.
Oh, Lord.
Fuck with our perception. Inorganic intelligent beings may dominate the universe. Robert Temple is a famous theoretician in the physics field. He's written some pretty cool books. Actually, he's written one called The Oracles of the Dead, which is all about the science of prediction. And anyway, the thing I want to point to here is he's talking about in this article these things in our near Earth orbit atmospheric arrangement called the Kordylewski clouds. Do you see the name of that up there?
A good Polish boy.
Right. And these were discovered in 1961. So these are two gravitational they're invisible to all of our instrumentation other than the two gravity wells that are created at these points on the Earth and the moon, and they're fixed. Okay. They emit no, as you can see, okay, just read right there, right? Right below where you're at. The Kordylewski clouds were discovered in 1961 by Dr. Kazimierz, right? As the clouds emit no light and are largely transparent, it was difficult for the Kordylewski's discovery to be confirmed by others. But in 2019, the existence of the clouds was confirmed using modern techniques, which did not exist in Kordylewski's day. This was done by a group of Hungarian astronomers. I noticed this very soon after the initial publication, blah, 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 blah. Phoned a friend, scroll down. This is all just color commentary until after the photo. So there's Kordylewski. But go back to that picture. He's estimating that there are these invisible areas 60 degrees separate from our equatorial orbit from each other, and they're in a perfect 60-degree pattern. In fact, here's
Excuse me.
Just a second here. Downloads. No. Okay. Image file. There it is right there. That's actually the photo I was going to send you.
Okay.
So see how there's 60 degrees?
Yeah, the moon, and then there's 60 degrees, which
L1
makes it
and
be.
L2 zones in the moon. L1 and L2 is like Rahu and Ketu. Those are the points in astrology in and around the moon that are obstructed by. They're not obstructed. They're informed by the moon's gravity wells on either side of it. But you have L4 and L5, they're calling these other points. Do you see that they're in a perfect V pattern?
Yeah.
For one, from the equatorial view of the sun, or of the Earth, rather, from our perspective to them, right? Like, so these have an effect that we don't know about, that we can't really study. What are they? What are they artifacts of? These seem to be an inorganic, the way they behave, maybe conscious, informed item. Are they probes that are vital to how the instrument of Saturn works, right?
And those are the Lagrange points, it says, known as L4 and L5.
These are the Lagrange points. But the Kizilewski clusters are around them. That's the whole thing. Okay. They have the Lagrange points are known, but there's something that is like glommed onto them, like an inorganic matter.
A radiant matter.
Right.
Its name was changed to plasma in 1928.
But these things are almost like they're enigmatic, is my point. So what is their function? To the creation of the frequency band that we're in here? There's something else I'll have you look up here. Rudolf Steiner's lecture V. Rudolf Steiner lecture V. Look up Rudolf Steiner's lecture V. It's right in plain sight with the V-Steg, obviously, with this thing. Rudolph is spelt with F, not P.
I got it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know which one you want me to pull up. Archive, lectures, G.
Lecture V. V is in Victor. Lecture V.
Well, there's a bunch of them. Hold on. Let's see. Remove this. I'll let you pick.
Okay.
Hold on. Which article do you want?
Right there is probably good. Right there, the lecture V, GA 293 are right there.
Okay.
No, the one just below it.
Let me go back. This one.
That's the one. Yeah.
Okay. The fundraising lecture V, study of a man, GA 293.
Here, I'm going to get you a direct link to it. Here it is.
Okay.
I'm just going to put it right there in our chat.
There
you go.
Okay. Yeah, that's the same thing I had.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
Yeah.
Hold up. Okay. Lecture V. Go down to a diagram. I'm going to explain what this is. And it's like here. Okay. So you see this diagram here?
Yeah.
This is a progression. He's like a mystic. He's like a famous mystic. He studied alongside Helena Blavatsky And he studied the ancient ways, and he studied a lot of the same kinds of Hermetic knowledge that we talked earlier about the Germans alongside Rudolf Hess. And, Adolf Hitler took Rudolf Hess alongside all these journeys across creation and back to ancient sites to do archaeology to learn about the same. Rudolf Steiner is talking about there's a disembodied being. The ancient ways in what we call him now is called Ahriman. And Ahriman comes to him only as a face in his dreams. He's kind of like battling Ahriman. He's because he's aware of him and he's making people aware of Ahriman. Ahriman's kind of like this disembodied evil force that in essence is keeping the earth encapsulated in a frequency soup. He calls it the eighth sphere. And the eighth sphere is an operable component of some sort of perspective shift on our minds.
Okay.
And if you scroll down, there's a reason why 8 is interesting with all of our time rituals. Scroll down further until there's another graphic.
Image.
There he is, right there. This is how he zooms in and shows. You see that the moon is actually inside the boundary limit of what the eighth sphere is, whatever the eighth sphere is. So we have these weird Lagrange points. We have inorganic beings that we can now prove with some sort of stimuli that we're sending to them and can measure with some sort of a spectrometer that these things are inorganic, some sort of maybe conscious living thing that we can't comprehend or explain.
Mm-hmm.
An echo of Ahriman or something, maybe, right? And the actual intent of maybe a harvesting matrix is what Rudolf Steiner's alluding to with the eighth sphere, what it really is. It's a harvesting matrix of energy. And we have all this stuff in all of our Oz tales, even stuff like the Matrix movie itself, which borrows from a lot of these themes in The Wizard of Oz. You have something that is templated on our culture at large that keeps us locked in with this shit. And it's, I suspect, one of the more nefarious things that nobody today is diving too deeply into without being not taken too seriously. But this is like the essence of DARPA. This is what DARPA has taken. Right. If you follow the spectrum of what has happened with technology, they've gotten better. They're long gone are the days where Jose Delgado has to put a physical apparatus inside the mind to control it with a frequency. You can do that wirelessly now because they understand what the mind is as a receptor, the brain is as a receptor. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I think that, they're also worshiping these ancient forces. This is where the real like dark fucking arts come from. Is this stuff is.
Yeah.
It's
when
not
they do the CERN stuff.
What's that now? Yeah.
CERN,
the CERN stuff. Exactly. That's why CERN is 666. This is why they've made 666 an evil number, because they're the ones trying to adulterate it and turn it against you. Right.
There was a comment yesterday. I didn't actually hear the Trump say it, but I think my husband told me, or somebody told me, that Trump said something about putting a nuclear reactor or something on the moon. Is this a part of that, or resetting that, or breaking out of that?
Let's get into that. This is where it gets
I
really
only
weird.
have like a couple minutes because I promised that I would be off.
So we're going to tease for next week then, everybody.
But I'm curious if this is part of breaking out of that or resetting that, turning the ship.
Yes, here's what I'm going to tell you. Apple TV has been the source of a lot of the steganography cultural beat shows.
Okay.
That have put us into this fake, what's going on the science surface, right? Even this, they called GE's research facility that created, there's a reason why it's science and fiction in the House of Magic. That's what GE's development division was called. It was called the House of Magic.
Stop.
So House of Magic creates chemtrails, Cloud City, and all sorts of other shit. All sorts of
Just
stuff
like
where
Disney. What did Disney call they called their
Imagineering.
yes. They called their workshops some Imagineering and weird little
So
studios.
So pull up NASA's logo. This is where we're going to end tonight. And guys, sorry, we're not getting straight into this. There's a comic called The Multiversity that is going to funnel a lot of this stuff back next week, I guess. Now,
What did you want NASA logo?
look up the NASA logo.
Okay. And they just put the new Jew guy into charge of them.
The new Middle Eastern guy.
Oh, he's a Jew.
Hamdani, the Jew that they're going to unite with the mosques. That's the whole,
Am I not able to share this tab instead? Okay. Are you guys able to see that? There we go.
Okay. So that's NASA's logo with the classical V shape
red lambda going through. Yeah,
but there's also the more modern NASA. So just type in the search bar NASA logo versus For All Mankind. Okay. You see on the one on the left? See how it's backwards? See how the V goes behind the logo itself? You see that there's actually a starburst. Go up, go up, go up, up, up. Just compare the first top two there. Nope. Up.
He is this one and this
top two. Those are the ones.
Okay.
See how they're mirror images of each other?
Yeah.
But the NASA logo that we acknowledge as NASA's logo in the public is on the right.
Oh.
There's symbolic representation related to Apollo and all that kind of stuff in that. But over here you have Sirius. And I think there's a lot to go into the true nature. The sun's binary orbit with the star Sirius. But you see how even the circles, there's not the little rocket looking module, which that's supposed to indicate on the NASA that we have. There's just a circular ring denotated by a star, and the V actually goes behind the logo. Okay, so look a little bit further. Show the NASA patch logos. So you see the one that has the delta on it there, or the lambda on it. You see the N, A, S, A, and the A's are lambdas. That's always been part of the mind control con. Lambdas, if you even go, the biggest mind control movies of them all to illustrate what even MK Ultra is, we're talking Clockwork Orange, big lambda on the poster, But we have something in this show where if you look at the actual NASA logo on their jackets, it's not the NASA logo that you're used to. It's got deltas on it instead. So I'm trying to find, if you zoom in on one of their patches on the show, I don't know if you can see it, but you see on the logo For All Mankind, scroll back up a little bit. See how it says For All Mankind, that
this
logo
one?
there? Yeah.
Okay.
Just pull that up. Those are deltas, not lambdas.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Okay. Now in the show, the patchwork that they wear on their person, on their space uniforms, and what they use with NASA is the classical type font that we have with the lambdas, but they use the deltas for this alternate history show. So the whole part of this show that is somewhat interesting to me is the lambda steganography replaced by the delta steganography is apparent throughout the whole thing. And it's this alternate history show where we didn't land on the moon first. It was Russia that landed on the moon first. Russia probably did land on the moon before we did also. But part of the thing that I'm going to point to with this show, Lisa, is that this is something that's illustrating what the alternate history then ends up becoming when Russia lands on the moon first in the 60s, not the US. And it involves public landing on the moon. It involves space bases being established on the moon. It even infers that there's this other on the moon that the show still hasn't ever explained 5 seasons in. I suspect it's the Germans or the alien contingent. They're dealing with something else on the moon. They eventually get to Mars. And NASA is working with all the worldwide space agencies to colonize Mars. Now, this is a fiction, but through the steganography, what they're saying to you is that in the real world, in our version of what NASA broadcasts, it's a lambda. NASA's official story to us is mind control. The show is putting out more of what is actually happening behind the scenes in the last 40 years at NASA than we actually can acknowledge, which is to say they've been up there on the moon. This comes back to your point, doing a bunch of shit. Mm-hmm. And who knows causing how much trouble and havoc alongside the breakaway Germans from World War II. And I suspect other alien contingents. That's why it's interesting where we're coming into November 5th. Remember the 5th of November.
Right.
V for Vendetta's Day. Yesterday, we've got this 3i Atlas thing really taken. That was the day that we knew now that the trajectory changed on the propulsion of 3i Atlas.
Yeah.
And it's going to hide somewhat of a reveal to us with whatever the secrets revealed are. Okay. And this is the last point I'll make, Lisa, because this is where the V-Steg, we got it. This is where we'll tease for next week with
next week. Yeah. Yeah.
Where this comes. But there was a sporting event, the World Series, that just concluded, right? Mm-hmm. The Mariners were one of the main contenders in the race for it this year. And the Mariners represent Seattle, which is denotated affectionately as the Emerald City, where the Wizard of Oz lives, right? Colloquially speaking, people refer to Seattle as the Emerald City. This is I'm from there. It's just what it's part of what people say. And what happened was you'll see pretty funnily here. Here's an image of the baseball field of how they cut the baseball diamond throughout the playoffs at the Mariners Stadium. I just put it up there in the image. It's a V.
Lord. Okay.
That's how they cut their stadium. Now, everybody knows by now, right, that V is the 22nd letter of the alphabet. Mm-hmm. This is one of their players. This is their star player. I just posted an article in the chat. Bring that one up.
That looks like somebody we know.
Kind of looks like Josh, doesn't it? I know.
Like Josh.
I'm gonna get to see Josh next week. He's visiting. So we got a little filming assignment. And so he'll be our first visitor to the new place.
Hold on, guys. I don't know why. It says share this. Sharing this too. Oh, mercy. I'm struggle bussing. Remove. Okay, there we go. There's Joshy.
Yes. So he is number 22.
Stop it. And
his last name is Wu.
I love it.
So his name is Brian Wu. Now they were talking the entire time. Oh no, we're going to be without Brian Wu. And so here's the ritual at play, guys. If you're looking between the lines, he's number 22. He's responsive to the V-Steg. His last name is Wu. Wu is our little secrets revealed nugget that Cliff's been talking about for forever, about these times doing the secrets revealed. The wizard in the Emerald City, as the ritual goes, because sports are rigged in this way. Sorry to say for all you sports fans out there. It takes part
now they just had, most recently, they're calling out the UFC.
Probably. I trust that's the case. It's unfortunately, it sounds like even Formula One is this anyway. The NFL whole thing is we've been waiting for secrets revealed. The whole Wu community is waiting for the secrets, right? They kept the Wu benched. Okay, this is an important aspect. They benched the Wu willingly throughout the playoffs. They did not allow the Mariners and the script to advance, so the Wizard stays in the Emerald City and the Wu stays secret. He didn't end up coming out. This is the kind of thing and every time the Mariners won a series, they were going to, when they won against the Tigers and the Bears lost in the second round. Lions and Tigers and
Bears on my. It's interesting the picture that they chose too, because he's keeping it close to the vest.
Yeah. So they did not allow the Mariners to get where if they would have gone to the World Series, where the Wu would be revealed, the Wu would triumph, the Wu would.
And the Mariners are in of the water,
Yes.
I don't know if you know this, but Abraham Lincoln is one of the only presidents to have a patent for lifting ships out of the water.
Oh.
Interesting. And we're coming out of maritime,
Yes.
into common law.
Well, the Mariners must have something. Yeah, it probably does. You're probably right about that.
Yeah.
Right.
I think that's what all this is.
So and the last wrapping it up from whence we started, Wicked, the sequel to Wicked, something nobody's ever seen before. It's not based on the play anymore. It's a newfangled thing. It's coming out November 21st, the day before JFK Day, the 22nd, JFK Assassination Day. That's the same day that this movie is also releasing. Click the latest image I just dropped in there.
Oh, wait. I've got another thing of Brian. Is it a movie about him?
That's a link. Yeah, that was from earlier. But I dropped an image in the bottom there.
About talking baseball?
Nope, not the link. You remember how you pulled up the image of the baseball field?
Yeah.
It's in that little image 80 is what it is named.
I can't see. I don't have it.
Present image file.
Photo Mojo World Series, and then
not the link. It's just the photo.
Baseball.
The photo, the image itself is in the little. Remember, it's in the tray where we. Yeah, there you go. That's however you pulled that one up. It's the next image over.
It's the next image over. I don't know what you mean.
I love tech. I love it.
I don't know what you mean.
That was the first one. The next one after this.
Like you're speaking Spanish to me.
It's not in there? Is it just not showing up?
No, there's not another. I don't know what you mean.
Look up just on the internet then.
What are you wanting me to
The age of disclosure.
Oh, wait. This one?
There it is. That's it.
Okay, sorry.
Look at so this is also coming out on the 21st. Look at the Lambda steganography, everybody, created by the Capitol building right in the middle. This is Luis Elizondo, the CIA mouthpiece that is, even in with the Corey Good faction at certain times. He's been given the baton to tout the official story for UFO disclosure. And on the 21st, we have a blanket over at the same time as we've got this 3-Eye Atlas shit that we're tracking, November 5th. Where it changed course, where we now know it's not a comet definitively. Cliff's data was actually a little bit off. He thought it was going to be the end of October. It ends up being November 5th that we find out that it's outgassing and it's changing its propulsion and direction. So
pretty damn close, though.
Pretty damn close, as always. But it's funny that the V-Steg also lines up with it pretty intently.
Yeah.
So, guys, what we have here is the Wizard's still at play. The Wu is still secret. They're going to push what their version is to you on the 21st. And this is going to be one of these defining moments in our whole apparatus of secrets revealed, where we probably argue the fuck out of this movie because it's probably bullshit. And there's probably a lot of us now that can see through the bullshit. Well, it is going to be bullshit. Look at the steganography. I mean, so Mars, the moon, and all this shit is all tied into these V-Steg rituals. I'm just trying to jam as much of the high notes to connect all. I know we went a little bit long tonight, Lisa. I'm sorry,
It's okay. No, it's okay. I've got to run. My fam bam is having dinner, but this is so awesome. I love this. I love these. We have to now. Okay, I am well. You are moved, and we will do these every Thursday at 4:30.
That's the goal. That's the plan. Yes,
that's the plan. We're going to stay in.
next
week. You guys join us in the live chat
with Eighth Sphere, the multiverse, and more V-Steg as it relates to how it's coming up in comics.
That's right.
Next week.
All right. We'll see you guys next week. Take care. I will be on later tonight with Johnny Litecoin, 8:30 my time, I think. I believe that's right. Busy weekend. All right. Take care, guys. Take care.